Hello everyone and welcome back to the course. I'm Damilare and today we're going to be exploring the Microsoft Excel connector in Power BI. Now in this lesson we'll dive into how to connect Power BI to Excel files, how to import your data and begin the process of transforming that data into insights. By the end of this lesson we'll be able to confidently import Excel data into Power BI, understand the initial steps to working with it effectively. So, why do we want to connect to Excel files, right? So, Excel is one of the most common tools for storing and organizing data, whether it's sales figures, customer information, or inventory lists. Um, Many companies or organizations rely on Excel, basically. So being able to import this data into Power BI allows us to take advantage of the advanced visualization and analytics capabilities that Power BI offers. So we're going to start with a file that I'm going to attach to this video. And I'm just going to pull that file in and you can see it on my screen. So we have this file. I call the file loading Excel files and we have this file. Let's open it up in Excel and see what's in it. So while it's opening, I just want to give some tips and tricks on working with Excel files. So one of the tips, one of the pro tips when working with Excel file is one, always use tables or named ranges. So we're familiar with tables in Excel. Always use tables or named ranges, or remove every empty row or column and check that there are no merge cells or special formatting in your data. So you do not want to have special formatting like background um, filling or text filling, etc. or filling your cells or merge cells. You want to make sure all that is removed from your Excel file. So if you look at my Excel file here, it's just the rows and the columns. So this is just my data set, and this is the sales data set that I generated. It's a fake data, so it's nobody's data out there. So it contains about 10 columns. We have customer ID, we have customer name, we have purchase date, we have product name, we have quantity, unit price, total price, payment method, shipping address, and sales rep. Now, this is a small data set, right? It's about 1,000 rows. It's a small data set. So, like I said, before we even think of importing our data into Power BI, I want to ensure that everything is fine. So I would usually convert um, my Excel data into a table. So just going to insert the table. We already know how to do this. I'm going to insert the table and I have my table. I'm going to give my table a name. So let's just call it sales data. Sales data. I think I left a space there. I'll do sales underscore data. And we're fine. Now, why do we do this? I'm just going to explain a bit why we do this. We do this because if we do not have this in a table, say it's not in a table, whatever values are entered, and it could be erroneous values or mistakes, someone just comes in here and types in stuff. Because our work is not in a table, if we do not put it in a table, because our work is not in a table, my Power BI sees this as part of the data. But when we are working in a table entity, within a table entity, we're just importing what is in that table entity into Power BI. So that's why we always convert to create a named range or a table before importing into Power BI. So I'm going to just save this and then we'll go into Power BI and we're going to use the Power BI uh, get data feature to get this data. So let's go to Power BI. And so let's start again. Let's go to get data. And this time we are connecting to an Excel workbook, remember, an Excel workbook. So we just have to click on Excel workbook and click on connect. And then we have this dialog box, or this box where we pick where our files in. So my files are in videos, courses, Power BI, and here. And this is the file I want to load into Power BI. So I click on it and I click on open. So when I click on open, it's going to bring up a dialog box. So it's trying to establish a connection first. So it's going to open a navigator overview, a navigator window in a bit. So this is the navigator window. And I want you to notice two things, right? There are two options here. You can see there's one that has data and there's one that says sales data. Now, when you import an Excel file into Power BI, the tables, remember we converted our data into tables. The tables are they usually have a blue header. So you can see sales data has a blue header. That's because in our Excel file, the table is called sales data. Here you can see the table is called sales data, and that's what has the blue. So that's the table. If I click on it, you see the table. And then the worksheets, because the table is in a worksheet. If I drag my face over here, you can see the worksheet is called data, right? And that's basically anything that is on the worksheet. So if let's play around with this a bit. So we can see the worksheet is called data. So let's play around with this a bit. If I drag this here, you can see on the worksheet we have other stuff outside the table. So we are going to call it other stuff, and I'm just going to save. Now, and this would even explain or buttress why we want to create a table in our data set before importing into Power BI. So let's go back to Power BI. Let's refresh this pool. And on the sales data, that's the table we created. You see, we have just our table, nice, nothing outside the table. Everything is just nicely within that table entity. But if you click on data, that's the worksheet. You see, we have everything in our table, yes. But then we have no, and we have this stuff and other stuff that we have here. So we do not want all this. So we always convert to a table. So this is what we want to import, the table, not the worksheet. So you just have to just tick it, right? Select that data you want to import. Again, you'd always see a preview right by your side, just to be sure. And then there are some options at the bottom, and two of them are important. Cancel, we already know what cancel does. It cancels the entire process. So we either load directly into Power BI, and what load does is you are happy with how your data is. You don't need to do any manipulation, and we'll talk about the transform data in extensively in a bit. You want to just, so for the load function, you do not have any other transformation to do. You're fine with your data, then you can just load directly into Power BI. The transform data function, on the other hand, is when you want to do some further manipulation to your data. For example, maybe you want to add a new column, or you want to do some calculations. Maybe we have a field called quantity, and we have unit price, and say we didn't have total price and we wanted to calculate total price. Then we go to transform data, right? But for the sake of this video, we're just going to load directly to Power BI, right? And then we'll talk about transform data extensively in a later video. So let's just load directly to Power BI. You click on load, and should load in a bit. It's loading. I'm just going to click on let it load, let it load, let it load. So you can see 1,000 rows loaded, and it's loaded. And if you look towards the right, you see there's a pane to the right that says data. You would see we have sales data there now. If you just click on that drop down, you can see all the columns in our data set is there. Customer ID, customer name. Let me expand this a bit. Customer ID, customer name, payment method, product name, up to unit price. And that's what we have on our Excel sheet, right? So you see customer ID, customer name, purchase date, purchase name, yada yada yada, up to sales rep. There. The good thing about having a connection between your Excel sheet is if I update this sheet and I add a new row, or I remove a row, or I make some change to the data set, I can always go to my Power BI and click on refresh. So there's a refresh button here, and it refreshes everything with the new data. So that's the one of the benefits of having our connectors and connecting to different data sources. We can always refresh and get fresh data into Power BI. So that's it. That's all about importing Excel files into a Power BI. We're going to work with other connectors in the coming videos. We're going to look at how to import CSV files. We're going to look at how to import data from our SQL database in coming videos. So stay tuned, and I hope you've been able to grab this so far. See you in the coming video.